You guys have your cell phones on?
Yes.
My grandma.
I had a request to live stream this, so I'm just trying to get that set up in a way that works for everybody. I need 2 MCLA volumes because these are too slippery. Thank you. Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Jalen James Bowers, docket number 21-407FC. This is the time set for sentencing. Mr. Bowers, you were found guilty by a jury of second-degree murder, being a felon in possession of a firearm, carrying of a concealed weapon, felonious assault, and possession of a firearm, and the commission of a felony. The felony firearm is a mandatory 2-year consecutive sentence. The second-degree murder is punishable by any term up to life. That being a felon in possession, a 5-year felony, carrying a concealed weapon, a 5-year felony, and felonious assault, a 4-year felony. You have the right to be represented by an attorney, and you are represented by Ms. Steffen. And Ms. Steffen, did you have a chance to review the pre-sentence report with your client?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Yes, I did.
And do you have any additions, deletions, or corrections just to the report itself?
Yes, Your Honor. Just in terms of corrections, the report misspells my name. It's using some version of my former hyphenated marital name.
I'll fix that.
That's not significant to the report, though.
No, but it should be right, so I'll fix that.
And the only other addition, Your Honor, under the health section,
Yes.
Mr. Bowers does suffer from some vision problems as well as headaches. He also is prescribed Seroquel for PTSD, depression, anxiety, and insomnia.
Sometimes they put that under a different section, I guess then. Okay, you want to give that to me again? Oh, yeah, sometimes they put that under mental health, but you want to give that to me again?
Yes, Your Honor. Under physical health,
Okay.
I would note the vision problems and headaches.
Vision problems and headaches. Anything he takes for that?
You know, Your Honor.
Okay, and then the next one?
Under the mental health, I would note that he is prescribed Seroquel. And that's for PTSD, depression, anxiety, and insomnia.
Okay. Those were the 2.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything, then that was your only correction?
Yes, Your Honor, other than the guidelines that we.
Right, the guidelines, we'll get to those. So you have some agreement and some disagreement with the people's changes. I'll take I'll go to the people on that, and then I'll give you a chance to respond.
Thank you, Judge.
First, do the people have any corrections to the report itself?
No.
All right, and then I'll take your objections to scoring, Mr. Dwayne.
Thank you, Judge. As indicated in the email sent to you and Ms. Stefan, I believe PRB number 2 was incorrectly scored at 5 points. I believe it should be scored at 20. I did provide the court with a document that I got off the internet with regard to his prior conviction on May 21st, 2018, of aggravated assault, intending breathing, and flight from a motor vehicle. Both of those are felonies. He served prison time for that. Those were convictions out of Arizona, Maricopa County, which I believe encompasses the Phoenix area.
Okay,
With regard to PRB.
but no, I'm gonna take these one at a
Okay.
time. So that was your PRB 2?
Yes.
Ms. Stefan, your response to that?
Yes, Your Honor, as I indicated in the defense's sentencing memorandum, because it was not scored or noticed by the probation department, that causes me to have some doubts about its accuracy. So I'm not going to concede to it, and I would defer to the court on that, Your Honor.
Well, I reviewed what the prosecution submitted, and I think it's sufficiently reliable and accurate. It indicates all the personal information about Mr. Bowers. It has a picture, and then it has great detail on here about the convictions, the jurisdiction. It includes sentencing information, disciplinary infractions while incarcerated. It has a profile classification, and then great deal of information about parole placement. My point being that the level of detail in this, I think, is sufficient that it could be considered completely reliable, and it is, as the prosecutor says, a record of conviction for an aggravated assault and fleeing from a law enforcement vehicle. And those appear to be at least low severity felony convictions in Maricopa County where they were had. So I will score PRB 2 at 20 points. Next.
Thanks. And I just want to make the record clear. I did reach out to, I believe it's Kelly Regis from NDOC as to why she didn't include those. I believe she's working at home because of COVID and didn't have access to run lien, but those convictions do appear on my lien history that I have in my possession.
Okay, and then I would just note that there's 4 SIRs. So I'm changing it on all 4.
And would you also change on the face page convictions from felonies 1 to 3?
I'm sorry, say that again?
On the face page, it says conviction felonies 1, it should indicate 3 there, I believe. Since we're adding these 2 more. Under
Oh, I understand.
Prior
Yes,
record.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Got it.
And then moving on to PRB number 5, it's currently scored at 5 points. I believe it should be scored at 10. My lien history does indicate a March 7, 2014 misdemeanor conviction for domestic violence out of the 65A District Court, which is in Clinton County. He pled guilty to that. That does not reflect on the prior record history that is included in this report.
Ms. Stefan?
Your Honor, we would concur with that statement, Your Honor.
Okay. I verified that as well through the judicial data warehouse. So that's your only objections then to PRBs, Mr. Dwayne?
It is.
And the defense was satisfied with the PRBs other than the objection you stated?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that takes them to 70, and I think no change in the level, correct?
Correct.
All right, then let's go to the OBs. Mr. Dwayne, you had issues with those.
Yes, Judge. OB3 is currently scored at 50 points. I believe that's inaccurate. It can't be scored for 50 points. I think that is only for drunk driving and things of that nature. So I believe the next level is the 25 points for life threatening or permanent incapacity injury occurring to a victim. So I believe OB3 should be scored at 25 and not 50 points.
And Ms. Stefan, you had no objection to that.
I agree.
Okay, but tell me what we do then on the other guidelines, because they've got it scored on the felon in possession, which is a public safety offense, and they've got it scored at 100.
for public safety, I think it is 100, 400 points if death results from the commission of a crime and homicide is not the sentencing offense.
Do you have any disagreement with that, Ms. Chapman?
I do not know.
Okay, so then it's properly scored on that one, and then properly scored on the carrying of a concealed weapon at 100 points, I'm gonna say, and same thing with the felonious assault, I think.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And then the next one, Mr. Dwayne.
The only other argument I have is OB9 is currently scored at 0. That's number of victims. I believe it should be scored at 10, that 2 to 9 victims were placed in danger of injury or loss of life. If you recall the testimony from the trial, Mr. Collins Sr. Was the victim of the felonious assault after the shooting of his son, where the testimony was from him that Mr. Bowers pointed the gun directly at him. So I believe he was a person who was placed in danger of injury. This was a felonious assault, very definition of.
Ms. Chapman.
Your Honor, in my sentencing memorandum, I did cite to People versus McGraw, which is 484 Mich. 120, which is a 2009 case. And I believe based on the holding of that case, Mr. Collins II was not placed in danger in this incident because the shooting had already been completed, and therefore it should not be scored in the homicide case, Your Honor.
Well, that would only mean that we didn't score him on the homicide, but there's a separate crime of felonious assault that Mr. Collins Sr. is the victim of. So that stands by itself. And I don't know, Mr. Dwayne, the people's position on scoring it on the second-degree murder as well?
Correct. I don't think it differentiates between homicide or assault. I think you have to look at the whole transaction.
The whole transaction is typically how the guidelines are scored. So I'll change OB9 to 10 points. And that's on all of the guidelines. And that means with the change, with the lowering of OB3 and the slight raise in OB9, we're actually at 105, correct, for
Right.
OBs? Still level 3, so really no change, but more accurate.
Right.
All right.
The only other change, Judge, is we did count that domestic violence conviction on the face page again under prior record under misdemeanors. It should be not 2 but 3.
Correct. I've changed that. Okay, then the next step is victims who wish to be heard. Mr. Dwayne.
Thank you. I believe Ann Collins, the mother of Tommy.
Okay, and I'll just ask that you come over to the witness stand here. And you want someone with you next. Have a seat. And then if you would just tell us again for the record what your name is, and remember the microphone.
My name is Ann Collins. I'm the mother of Thomas Collins III. I come here a broken person who has lost her normal. Once I was a person who loved life, happy-go-lucky type of person that liked to joke and loved everything. Now I'm broken and cry all day. Maybe the smell. A song, or even the name of this driving by. I don't even know how to explain my pain. I can't say his name without crying most of the time. Your Honor, I'm asking if I can speak to Tommy now. First off, Tommy, Mama loves you and wish you were here with me. Mom and Dad made a promise to you when you were born that we would protect you until you could protect yourself. Dad and I just did just that until you became a man. You were such an amazing child. You amazed me and your father, from those beautiful baby blue eyes to the state champ, wrestler, and go-kart driver, and so much more. You were just my champ. I can't remember how many times you won, because you were my champ. You're so smart. You've always told Mom from the age of 20 or the age of 4 that you would become president someday. You graduated a 4.0 student when you graduated high school. Then you became an amazing father of 3 beautiful children. Now, because of this evil monster, our grandchild, your kids will no longer be able to have a father. Dad won't be present for birthdays, graduations, or even your wedding. Like I said in the beginning, I would protect you, son. And on February 13th, 2021, I made another promise to you, son, that Mom and Dad will protect you again, even if we have to go through the court system. Mom will do just that, get justice for you, son. So I'm here today. You know Tommy, he's with me. And then I want to ask you if I can speak to Dylan. I don't know you from the man in the moon, but because of your heinous crime, when you murdered my son, you will always have a bad connection like cancer. You murdered my son, and it's time for you to pay. On February 13th, 2021, the day you murdered my son. That being said, I would hope and pray that you would wake up every day in prison scared for your life. I hope my son's beautiful face haunts you for every day of your meaningless life. I know my son is in heaven looking down on me and his family. I had to watch our son for 12 hours. His father and I sat beside his bedside, and we both felt as we were dying, watching the doctors and nurses work on Tommy while he lay there dying 12 hours, and watching them squeeze over 100 units of blood into my son, and watching it pour out as fast as it was squeezed in. So now, Your Honor, I'm asking you to give this murderer as much time as possible. I'm asking for you to give him a year for every unit of blood our son receives. It's only fair. For every unit of blood I had to watch be squeezed into my son from this monster, my son should have the same 1 year per unit of blood for our son that had to receive. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for being here today.
I also want to read something that my grandson, that was 9, at the time had wrote. This is from his nephew. He wrote, "Sadness is killing me. I want to leave Earth. They ask me if I'm okay. It just makes everything worse. My uncle died. Makes me cry. I wish I could have said goodbye. He died too early, 25. It's just not all right. We had a bond that couldn't be broke. We always had fun and joked. Now he's taken away. Now my heart is broke." Thank you. Sweet boy.
Thank you. could you just start with your name for the record, please?
My name's Thomas Collins, second.
Go right ahead.
I'd just like to say, just to start on behalf of my family, that on comments that have been made on, sent to my kid's wife or my kid's mother, one of my son's kids' mothers, that if anything happens to any of my family members, that I would ask that his family be looked at as a part of it, from the comments that have been made about that. I'd just like to say that can't believe he's even not showing any kind of guilt or anything. He doesn't show any mercy for my son. I was there, I seen what happened. Nothing but a liar, murdering liar. I can't wait for somebody to get you. Now my kids, my grandchildren, never have a father, never be able to get taught anything about being a man from him that he's got taught. Father's a big thing in my family. I don't know about yours. And you took it. They'll never have it because of you. Like I said, I was there. I seen the car door wide open in the middle of the road. Seen the window wide open. I mean, all the way up. I seen what you did. You're 20 feet from your car, if not further. My son was never at your vehicle. Maybe you should tell your family what really happened. And they might not be sending threatening stuff to my family, because we have done nothing to you. And you jumped out of a car, come at my son, and shot him dead. He was never at your vehicle. I know this, you know this, and I'll be coming after your lying family and people that were with you in court to get justice, because they're accessories to murder. You can't make up a lie about what happened and just say, oh, that's what happened. It's not what happened. I know it, you know it, they know it. And I'll be bringing it to court, and I'll be trying to get them for accessories to murder. Now my son will never get to do ever anything again because of you, a piece of shit. And I hope someday maybe I'll get with you someday. Maybe we'll get to settle this for real. Because they can give you life and you're still breathing. And that ain't nothing. You shouldn't be breathing. Shouldn't be looking. You shouldn't be doing nothing. You should be dead. Wouldn't hurt my feelings any if somebody did something to you. And the way your mother's been sending texts and stuff to my family, I wish it would happen. She could come up and hold you. Sit and listen, you piece of shit. My kid gets to have no life, but you get to have one. The rest of yours. Yep, shake your head, yeah. Well, let's just hope something happens. Maybe them headaches will get you. You should have them. I think I'd have a headache too if I murdered somebody. Hope you have it good and hard. Can't even believe you. You killed a man for no reason. At least you've proven no reason. I was there. I got to look out the window and see my kid walk out my driveway, and 3 seconds later, he's shot dead. Then I gotta listen to you lie, and your family lie, and your buddy lie. Well, I'll be coming after them all. I'm gonna let you know that. There's so much I want to say to you, I just can't even bring it out. I just hope the judge gives you everything you deserve. Just like your family's been saying about my son, he got everything he deserved. Well, I hope you get everything you deserve from the court. Plus, I'm sure there's some people in there, wherever you end up, take care of people like you. I know they do. So, hope you ain't got long. I hope the judge takes everything in consideration about what he's done, because he gave my son absolutely no mercy. He jumped out of his car, come right at him and shot him dead. Cold-blooded murder. I believe you would have shot him again. I believe your gun jammed. I believe that's why you didn't shoot anymore, because you're a coward. Just a fucking coward. And now my grandchildren get to grow up with no dad. Isn't that fun? Well, your fucking family your kids have a dad still, don't they? Don't deserve it. Ain't their fault. They didn't do a damn thing. But now they do. Now they got something. They got a piece of shit dad. Murdered. Now they got to carry that around for the rest of their lives too. Because of you. I hope you like it. Hope you treated your family real good, because this is what you're giving them. So I hope the judge takes everything in consideration and gives you everything you deserve, which is life. And you don't even deserve that. You deserve to be killed. You don't shoot somebody in the back. My son was shot in the back because his fucking body was turned, because he was turned away from you. Because you called him out to come beat him up. Well, my son's not a punk bitch like you. He come outside, didn't he? That's right. And you shot him. Because he would have kicked your ass. He would have mopped the floor up with you. You don't threaten somebody and then come to their house and then say you pull out a gun and shoot them and say it's self-defense. And then shoot them in the back. You're just a coward, a piece of shit. And I hope you get what you deserve. That's it.
Thank you. Someone else for the victim or a victim's relative?
Dad, you want to speak?
Mariah?
Go ahead. Go from her.
See, and could you start by stating your name for the record, please? And you might have to spell it. I don't know. What is it?
My name is Mariah Stinson,
Could you spell your name for the record?
Mariahstetson.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Took my daughter's father away from her. They don't get to go play together. They don't get to go to the park. They don't get to go. He doesn't get to send her off to school in the morning. He doesn't get to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day. You took that away from her. She doesn't even get a chance. She doesn't even get a hope that one day she'll. My daughter will never know that now. She'll never know the love of father and daughter. And she's never gonna get to know why, because there was no reason. There was no reason that he was taken from her. And you just get to live down, and you just get to live your life, and you just get to continue breathing. But, you know, I get to have that conversation with my daughter one day, Jaylene. Though, where is my daddy? How come I can't go to the daddy-daughter dance at school? And I get to tell her, there's no good reason why you don't have that. I hope that you get to think about that every day. That my little girl gets to grow up without a dad because of you.
Everything here. Any more victim statements? Here's not. Mr. Dwayne, did the people wish to be heard?
No.
All right, Ms. Stefan?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, my condolences go out to the Collins family. No parents or grandparents should ever have to bury their child, and no child should ever have to grow up without their parent. So I'm truly sorry for the Collins family. Mr. Bauer stands before Your Honor today because he made some bad decisions and bad choices that led to the death of Thomas Collins III. There are also some other facts and circumstances that I'd like Your Honor to consider for sentencing. These are contained in the sentencing memorandum that I presented to the court. And one of them, Your Honor, is that although Mr. Bowers shot Mr. Collins III, Mr. Bowers didn't have an intent to kill. The trajectory of the bullets was downward. The entrance wounds were on the lower portion of the body. Mr. Bowers certainly had the opportunity to fire a shot to the chest or the head. And I know it doesn't change the outcome. I'm not trying to say that it does. And I know it doesn't change the law under second-degree murder. But I do believe there's a difference in intentionally creating a large danger or likelihood in causing death versus an actual intent to kill. And so for that, I want Your Honor to consider that. Secondly, Your Honor, the only reason that this gun, that Jalen ever had this gun, was because him and Courtney went to buy the gun the same day that she received full custody from her son's father. And Your Honor will recall that had been the victim of a savage attack by people he had never even met before. And that was on December 6th of 2020. The police never arrested any of those perpetrators, and the police didn't even submit a warrant request until January 29th of 2021. To my knowledge, that case has never been prosecuted. And in addition to that, there were those series of assaults and attacks that Courtney Raymond was the victim of. And I truly believe that it is fact that had law enforcement done their job and prosecuted Enrique for all of those instances, Courtney and Jalen never would have bought this gun. And Tommy, in fact, would be alive today. And Jalen, in fact, never would have taken the actions he did. That's not meant to justify anything, but I think we still have to go to those facts and circumstances because it is part of the picture here, Your Honor. Additionally, Your Honor, and I mean this in no ill will or to rub any salt in any wounds, but it is a fact that Thomas Collins III, he did not have to come outside of his house when he was challenged to a fight and challenged to come outside. And in the actions that he took, he did contribute to this circumstances, Your Honor. He didn't have to arm himself with a gun and come outside to see Jalen. Furthermore, Your Honor, the gun that Thomas Collins III had, and I've attached the Facebook records of his purchase of that gun, I believe that that gun was specifically purchased to be used against Jalen Bowers. And I believe that because Thomas Collins III sought to purchase that gun only hours after Enrique Castillo lost custody of his child. I don't believe that's coincidental timing. I believe based on everything that we know about the relationships of the people, that Enrique Castillo most likely contacted Tommy Collins III for the purchase of that gun. And that if Jalen Bowers weren't here today and had he not shot Tommy on that day, I believe that Jalen would have been shot and killed with that firearm, Your Honor. And lastly, Your Honor, that December 6th, 2020 incident in which he was savagely beaten and he was an innocent victim of, he never received justice for that. He still suffers from physical and mental illness as a result of that. And Judge Jalen Bowers obviously made some poor decisions that bring him before you, Your Honor, today. I believe that those decisions ultimately, when we go to their root, they came from a place of fear and not of malice. And they were a direct result of the aforementioned circumstances. So, Your Honor, I'm asking Your Honor to sentence the court to a term that is within the murder to grid, but that is a downward departure from the guidelines. I'm respectfully asking Your Honor to consider a term of 90 months on the murder case. Your Honor, there are obviously no winners here. And my prayer is for all of the people involved to find peace and comfort and hope. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Bowers, do you wish to say anything before I sentence you?
Do you want him to stand up, Your Honor?
It would help, I think, for us to all hear.
I would like to first and foremost send my deepest condolences and apologies to the family of Thomas Collins. Since February 13, 2021, he nor his family nor loved ones have left my mind. There is nothing in my 26 years of life that could have prepared me for the tragic events that took place that fateful morning, and evermore the burden I will consequently have to bear for the rest of my life. To the fullest extent possible, I understand the profound pain that is being suffered by all that were touched by him in his life. And for that, I humbly ask for that opportunity to earn the forgiveness from all those who missed that touch. And once again, I send my deepest condolences and apologies to his family and loved ones. Like all tragedies, the pain and loss aches through both families in our community. Saying that, I must also say I am deeply regretful and sorry for all that this has caused my family and loved ones. Y'all have done nothing but love and support and care for me since birth. You have been by my side through thick and thin during this trial. And I can never fully express my gratitude nor hurt for any of you having to endure this tragedy. I would also like to express the same sentiments to the Lansing community. I know there is nothing sadder than to see two young individuals whom he took part in raising to be young men, lives come to this point. And for all that I have stated, I want the family of Thomas, my family, the community, and the Honorable Draganchuk to know I take full responsibility and accountability for my actions that led to the loss of his life. Acceptance of the outcome of these events on my behalf is to me a major factor in hopes of true healing for all those affected by this tragedy, and I accept. I want all those affected also to see the display as much as possible that this event is in no way the content of my character, and that I am redeemable. And I know much of what I know is true can only be proven true to all those affected with action and time. I just want everyone to know that this is what I am committed to, making much right as possible as I can, and dedicating my life to make a positive difference, not letting all go to loss, because I believe I have that capability. And I'm asking for that opportunity from all at some point in time.
Well, Mr. Bowers, I say this with total sincerity. The beating that you got was totally unjustified and no one should be beaten like that. You did not deserve to be beaten like that. But this is not someone else's fault. The prosecutor put on a lot of evidence about that prior beating, and I did not hear one shred of evidence that indicated that Tommy Collins had anything whatsoever to do with it. Even if he had, you don't go and shoot someone because of it. But there wasn't one shred of evidence that Tommy Collins had anything to do with it. The words that you exchanged with Tommy Collins were not the words of a frightened man following a severe beating. They were the words of taunting, of challenging for a fight, and wanting a fight. And it doesn't matter whether you brought the gun with you to the fight or the gun was already in the car. When you started with those messages to Tommy Collins, taunting him and egging him on and trying to get him to come out of the house, you chose what was going to happen that day. And you chose the violence. You chose the whole course of events. And the jury rejected soundly the self-defense claim. But when you chose your course of action that day, unfortunately, you also chose your consequences. So it is the sentence of this court that you must pay $130 to the Crime Victims Fund, $340 in state costs to the county in the amount of $500, based on the State Court Administrative Office calculated average cost for a criminal case in Ingham County. Restitution in the amount of $4,700 to Ann Collins. And starting on count 5, the felony firearm count, which comes first, you are sentenced to the custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections for a period not less than 24 months nor more than 24 months. You receive credit for 429 days already served. On count 1, you are sentenced to the custody of the Michigan Department of Corrections for a period not less than 360 months nor more than 880 months. You receive 0 credit for time served. On count 2, you're sentenced to the Michigan Department of Corrections for a period not less than 36 months nor more than 60 months. You receive 0 credit for time served. On count 3, you're sentenced to a period not less than 36 months nor more than 60 months. You receive 0 credit on count 3. And on count 4, you are sentenced to no less than 28 months nor more than 48 months, and you receive 0 credit. Counts 1, 2, 3, and 4 run at the same time with each other. Count 5, and those counts 1 through 4 are consecutive to count 5. Mr. Bowers, you have the right to appeal your conviction and your sentence. You're entitled to an attorney at public expense to assist you in doing that. If you're making a request for one, you have to make it within 42 days of today's date. It tells more about that on that form that Ms. Steffen is now handing to you. You should just know that that form, which you use to start the process, the 42 days starts running from today's date. And you are remanded to the custody of the sheriff and the Michigan Department of Corrections. And that will conclude our sentencing hearing.
We'll keep fighting for you, Jalen. We're gonna appeal it. I love you, son.
I love you too.
Love you.
We got you. And tell your family to stop contacting me. Stop Facebook stalking me.
It's 30 years.
Okay, good.
Judge, maybe 5 minutes.